Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another scene for the living world of darkness, rage across New York, wherein 10 Point is, as usual, on the Sept of the Green, albeit today enjoying some of the sun, enjoying some of the air, and is set out by the lake with, most of an antler set alongside her and slivers of antler arranged around her knees, where she's sitting cross-legged and kind of crouched over as she has a bit of antler in one hand and obviously some sort of etching tool in another, and is just kind of merrily doing her thing, just scratching away, putting some manner of design on there. Probably some generic Celtic naughty shenanigans. And yeah, she's doing her thing.
This is Umbraside, right?
Um,
Or
either
Clary?
one. Either works equally. I'll say Umbra just because if she's this peaceful, it's probably Umbra's side.
Yeah. Will wakes up today. He had a delicious 5 success sleep. And yeah, feels pretty good. Does his guardian duties, etc. Gets on with the things of the day. And yeah, he will basically, once kind of the things are out of the way that he needs to do, he needs to speak to 10 Point because he has some vague, strange memories from the other day. And amongst them feature something that could be 10 Point and was confirmed to him that it was 10 Point by his girlfriend Becky and his kinfolk, and that he was acting strange and that she basically made an effort to kind of sort him out. And yeah, so he wants to go speak to her. So he will spend some time looking for her. Crossing to the Umber is not too difficult considering the blessings of Otter. And yeah, he will eventually spy her by the side of the lake, and he will come over to her. He has left his phone behind as he doesn't carry that with him anymore, and he will use this opportunity to dedicate a bowl of spicy soup that he will bring to her.
And yeah, all in all, well, she did not get a delicious 5 success sleep. In fact, she got a pretty rough sleep and is kind of having a time of it at the etching, but she doesn't have any dedicated purpose to these, and as such is only so frustrated, but is definitely more at ease here in the Umber than she is in the Tellurian. And as such, when she hears someone a-coming and glances back over her shoulder, she doesn't tense up, doesn't immediately like fling herself on the ground, just kind of looks back, the brows loft a little bit in surprise, as well, he's seen her and he's still coming her way, so and she'll go ahead and set aside the etching tool and probably take the little bit of antler and stick it into a small but slowly growing pile off to one side of designs that they're just not coming out. It's not working so good. And once Will gets within a certain range, we'll tip her chin.
Yeah, Will does. She will be well aware that Will kind of has a small flash of annoyance, not anger, just kind of like, yeah, and he'll kind of just, don't do that. It's fine. I bought these for you. And yeah, he actually will bring her as well the hacksaw and 2 antlers as well as a bowl of soup. I think these belong to you. And I'll set them down in front of her.
And yeah, she'll accept the bowl of soup. Again, she's not especially subtle, so the bit of surprise is it's right there and easy to read. Though come the set down of the hacksaw and the pair of antlers, there's definitely something of a bashful look, as that is not stuff she should have left behind. Thank you.
I bought you this as well. And I'll give the soup if you are
Yep.
hungry.
And she will accept it And again, kind of bob her head. Thank you.
Will looks a little, yeah, definitely a little awkward.
He's not the only one.
And yeah, he'll kind of sit there and twiddle his leafy thumbs.
She'll kind of gesture to the rock beside her, not do like the pat thing, because that could be seen as, I don't know, patronizing or something, but kind of makes the gesture an offering. I guess you're doing better then.
Yeah, I guess I need to talk to you. I have vague memories about. Yeah, it's all kind of mixing together and it's a bit dreamlike. But I definitely have memories of being at the shrine of Chimera with somebody. I guess is you, considering what my kin and Becky told me.
I apologize for being misleading, but it seemed like the best course of action at the time.
Well, considering the things I apparently said, probably did me a pretty big favor.
And there's
I
a
think.
tiny nod. Just an agreement.
Could you tell me exactly what was said? What was I saying? I have a recurring dream that I've had ever since I came to this sept. I have vague memories of that. And I have fairly lucid memories of being given advice to, yeah, perhaps sort that dream somehow. You can tell by the way Will talks as he's choosing his words carefully and he's clearly uncomfortable.
And she does that little kind of purse her lips together thing as he's talking, looking at the soup, looking out at the lake, but potentially in trying to make things less awkward, making them more awkward, but not by not looking him on directly. I couldn't recount word for word, but I could certainly give you the idea. You did mention that the dream was reoccurring, that what was happening always happened, and we're very determined to follow the preset path.
Yeah, that dream's become slightly formulaic. Down the street, turn left, up the drive, into the house, and bad things happen. And then we leave.
For what it is worth, you called me Naomi time and again.
Yeah. She's that. And despite being a werewolf, Will hesitates because he doesn't want to use the slightly silly word. She's the mage.
There's a slight nod of acknowledgement again. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, she's been coming into my dreams, and well, it was partly helpful. Helped us establish some connection, but yeah.
From the things you said, she does not sound like any sort of guide that you need to have inside your dreams or inside your head.
Coming to think so too. She has a rather fatalistic outlook on life, although we see eye to eye on certain things.
Well, things are not always good and are More and more often, it seems quite bad. Harboring such dream as that and setting it as a standard. It didn't seem healthy. So I turned to what I knew. And what I've learned of dreams. I hope that the advice was not unwanted.
No, I don't think so at all. I think you've done me a big favour.
She looks
You're right.
pretty
I can't
blatantly
just
relieved.
wallow in it. I need to do something about it.
And yeah, with the reassurance, she looks somewhat clearly relieved, loosens up a little, gets a little more relaxed, a little less awkward. For what it is,
thank you.
of course. And for what it is worth, though I'm sure it will sound patronizing, I'm sorry that this thing has haunted you for so long.
Will just shrugs. I don't even really find it haunting anymore. I'm just kind of used to it. I suppose I sort of just accepted it.
And she is picking at the soup a bit, looking thoughtful, still kind of looking out over the lake, more so than in his direction.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to... Well, maybe I'll tell you after it happens, if it works. I'm going to seek to make reparations in some small way and, yeah, try and do the right thing. Instead of just wallowing in self-loathing and pity.
It sounds like the wiser course of action.
So it occurs to me that I am something in your debt.
Kind of blinks at that. From what I am aware, me and mine have been in your debt after what we have put your pack through. I would consider it, if anything, a repayment for those trials. And it would be good to have us on somewhat better footing.
I'm quite sure the rest of your pack don't feel that way about the events. Your Arun Dallas, I don't know if she's in your pack, but she certainly hangs around. Implied that she's heard lots about me and not all good.
She gives a light shake of head. Not yet. And she is impulsive, as Aruns often are. And I will not say that all that is spoken of you among me and mine is good. But the more times that I see you now, as opposed to back in the beginning, the more I realize that the you that is mentioned when we talk is not true to the you as you've proven yourself to be since. You have not been petty. You have not been demeaning or domineering. You have not been in any way unkind. Not in a long time.
I've definitely been those things, but in my defense, I was probably driven to them. But anyway.
There's that little, like, rouse of brow and like, tilt of head, like, well.
So, What do you want? Any one thing I can do to repay it? Not because I don't like being your debt or anything, but because, well, I think you don't even know how much of a favor you've probably done me. So I want to help you in return. What can I do?
She
I'm only a foster and I can't move heaven and earth, but
yeah, she kind of sits back a bit, looks thoughtful. I suppose it might be asking too much to ask your patience. We are trying to recover from what we've done, and we are trying to do better with the other packs. And we are not always succeeding, but I'm trying to lay the groundwork. I'm trying to mend the fences. And you have already been more patient than I expected. But particularly in regards to Aiden, I feel like it will be an uphill battle.
me and Aiden haven't really had any run-ins actually since the incident of violence.
Perhaps. But he felt passionately about what took place at the time. And,
Agreed.
well, perhaps we were not fair. What he has said in his head as what happened is what he believes. And I don't expect us to be good friends, but it would be nice to have us back to a neutral state. And I think, while perhaps Aiden will be more of a roadblock than you will in this,
I know Aiden's version of events. He told them to the truth catcher. And the truth catcher quite rightly figured out that that is not exactly what happened. However, I'm not saying that I was in the right. Especially considering what my totem of my tribe would demand.
it seems that the more that this goes into the past and the emotions tied to it die down, that neither side was wholly in the right.
Aiden seems to think that he could leave our pack and that we wouldn't care or have a problem with it. And that any anger we have because of this was entirely unjustified. How would you feel if one of your packmates did the same? Left you for some other people? But whatever.
It
And
was you
things got
mentioning
out.
this. Apologies, right?
Yeah, things got out of control and feelings got hurt. But yeah, whatever.
And she actually shakes her head a bit at the whatever. It was your mentioning this the first time, how I would feel were the same thing to happen again, that made me rethink, at least a bit, my stance on the matter. It's not whatever. It's not a small thing. And to your credit, I think I would have responded worse. And by now, if Aiden were to leave, it would be bad. It would be very bad. To put it lightly. So
Aiden has a
no.
habit of being short-sighted. He came to this set with Sayosha and Alana, and then he left them and came to us. He did not always say very pleasant things about them. And then he left us for you. And I'm fairly sure doesn't say pleasant things about us all the time either. And he's made other rash decisions recently.
She
You
kind of
need to
glances
look
up at the
out for.
rest. Oh, sorry.
No, yeah. He'll just say, you need to look after him. He needs to think long term. He needs to realize that while his actions may not have consequences today or tomorrow, they will eventually. And that he can't just go through life with a smile on his face and think that everything's gonna be fine. But I agree. I don't want, and nobody wants our pack certainly doesn't want continued hostilities. Your friend Dallas is doing a good job of making me rethink that there.
And again, it's the kind of that, well, look, at the mention of Dallas. I do not, but so well, remember what I do, in part, and I will hope that she has learned from her actions. She may not have remained a Fianna, but she is still hot-blooded even for an Arun.
You know what? The thing she said to me the other day, before the challenge, if I was a Silver Fang, or a Get, or a Red Talon, I would have killed her. She called into question my leadership and my right to be a Fostone. She also called into question the leadership of Chloe Rare, as the mission that she says was so poorly led was in fact not led by me, but by Chloe. Just because she threw down with Sovgar doesn't mean she gets to throw her ego around. But I understand it, because I was once that stupid fucking idiot. Arun. I didn't have quite as big an ego, but I definitely had a worse temper.
I am hoping that with time, I can curb some of it. It is difficult at times to determine the best way to balance my packmates. And I apologize when they lash out, because it is my duty to keep them balanced.
Would you like to know what the Truth Catcher said to us when we were talking about some of the problems here? Regarding actually your beta accusing my pack of being agents of the worm. He said, it sounds like your Theurge, after I told her about you coming to me, said it sounds like your Theurge is the only one with any sense in your pack. Something Aiden didn't really appreciate, and I'm quite sure Baleen and Banshee wouldn't either.
She kind of sucks in a breath on that.
Don't worry, I'm not going to say anything to anyone. I think he's right. The role of the Omega is something I didn't really appreciate until, I guess until I watched you.
I know that it seems harsh, and it is not always the way it is between my packmates and I. But it is important to have a member of the pack whose responsibility is simply to manage their packmates, to ensure that their emotions do not run roughshod over their good sense.
I think it's more than that, though. You can, from your position of Omega, you can say things and imply things that without challenging and without domineering.
And she nods agreement. If anything, she seems a little surprised that he's caught on.
So I was wondering if you could do something for me. I know I've asked, you've helped me before. I don't want to ask again, but this is important and difficult. And I really worry that if this isn't resolved, there's going to be more violence on Sept. Felix has wronged my pack and me, in my opinion, very grievously. I know he's close with your pack as well. So far, he'd made zero effort to really make any true reparations for this.
May I ask?
Apologize, but sure, go ahead.
The details of what was done.
I don't want to give you the exact details, but he knew of a threat to my pack, and he's known about a threat to our pack for months, and we were never told. Despite us going out of our way to save him, risking our lives to save his. He never thought to return the favor.
She'll chew it over.
I think you can imagine how wronged we feel that a Garu of the Sept, who we're supposed to fight alongside, will put his own pride above our safety and well-being. If one of us had died because of this threat, he would have been responsible for that death.
Do you have any idea why?
Why what? Why he didn't say anything?
And she nods.
Well, I know what he told me. He didn't want to make me angry. All sorts of bullshit excuses, when this isn't the case. The truth is, it's his pride. Felix has made a mistake. He fucked up. And despite fixing that mistake for him, he still doesn't want to admit he was wrong. Truthfully. And Eric's the same. Eric's supposed to be my commanding officer, and he knew about a threat to me personally and to my pack. And he didn't tell us. I respect him as Wormfoe, but
at least in the case of the Wormfoe, I might be able to bring it to his attention without worse than the usual reciprocation. Felix is harder, but I will try. He does not seem to agree with my pack's methods, with what works for them. Admittedly, most here are much easier to balance out, much easier to speak to. But Felix is difficult.
And that's why your position as Omega gives you certain advantages. You don't have to speak with him. You don't have to lecture him or tell him what to do. You can just put a little idea in the back of his head.
Again, there's that slight little nod.
Because he needs to make this right.
She continues to kind of, you can tell she's kind of chewing over the notion and what method might work best, kind of rolling it around in her head.
I would also greatly appreciate if this conversation didn't leave us. Considering it. And in reciprocation, I'll make extra efforts to have our packs work together more.
Well,
That's
I have
what we
had
really want.
nods. I have been given strict lessons on keeping secrets, but at the same time, something that is not treated as a secret is easy enough to keep. I have been asked on several occasions to try to set things right between us and the other packs. At this point, I am simply doing what I am asked. I'm sure generalities would be enough. Presuming they take interest at all.
If Felix were to come around to the idea that he needs to show public apology for what he did, from a rite of contrition, and think of some way to make it up to us. I don't care about what it is. I care about him showing an effort, giving a shit. Same with Eric. The effort's what matters. The show of respect. The show that we're not just this. Not just the pack that is off in their cabin, getting ignored, being treated like we're disposable, not being bought in on plans.
And she again mulls it over. I have spoken to your alpha. Has she spoken to you about the Keeper of the Land?
Nods. Eric suggested it, as far as I understand.
For what little it is worth, I support the action. I would not generally prefer to see a medicine position, but Raven's Third Eye Raya is capable and has put in the time and has put in the effort to appease the spirits of the Sept. All of the things that she has done are in concurrence with the duties she would have. I am trying to talk my pack around so that there is no backlash.
We'll smile slightly at the mention of backlash. Talatahine has come to a realization, which is, while she certainly doesn't view Metis in the same way that perhaps my tribe does, or the Bonors do, she feels guilt over what she is, even if I believe is misplaced, but to limit herself on purpose, to pull herself back, to not strive to serve Gaia as best she can. Well, that's just wrong, isn't it?
There's a faint nod there. Too many forget. While back home, perhaps it is rare for one of us to hold position or to hold rank. By time we do, Raya, it is well deserved, many times over. If she can earn this position, particularly from one such as the Keeper as he is now. She deserves it.
Well, not.
And has been pointed out to my pack. Regardless of who or what the Keeper is now, if so much is happening in the Umbra, if so much concerns the spirits that we have been so busy making amends, keeping them safe, and we have not heard a word from him, one must wonder what manner of Keeper he is, that a Metis would be better in his place.
I don't know the guy, I don't know what his duties are, but...
Put simply, the well-being of the spirits on the Sept. And of the Sept grounds themselves.
Well, I can say that Talatahin has done great efforts to help the guy and spirits of the city around the Sept. You may have noticed that the Gauntlet is almost back to normal in most areas.
And again, she nods unhesitating agreement.
A lot of that was to do with Talate.
I know that your pack has done more good than has been recognized, even if I do not know the details.
We're not all here for backpacks.
Hmm?
And we're not all here for backpacks. Backpats, sorry. Literally.
Perhaps.
We'll leave the and he's kind of smiling a bit mischievously. Maybe one day Dallas will recognize us and grant us all deed names.
Oh. Yeah.
Will is clearly and openly kind of like teasing.
Oh, yeah, but she's still, like, she doesn't look shameful per se. More so looks kind of bashful about the whole thing. Even Myra has not failed to notice the similarity between her deed name and mine. It has been mentioned. If the same name had been sung by a Galliard, I would be proud of it. But as it is, perhaps it is best left unmentioned until another is earned.
I'm quite sure it's well deserved. I just found it amusing.
She gives kind of a wry smile.
I don't tend to go by deed names anyway.
It is considered somewhat uncouth for me and mine not to. Keeping a human name is strange.
See, that's the advantage of being me. No one expects me to do things correctly. It's very liberating.
She grins. Just because she's not used to seeing him poke fun at himself.
My favourite deed name is actually Rattles Twigs. Oath of Silence was given because some Galliard was insisting I get one. And he gives me one after my rite of passage, and Storm Through Lava was, well, I stormed through some lava. I've certainly, in my opinion, performed more impressive martial feats than that. If I do say so myself. Twigs. That was given to me by Cause the Fury, because I had caused something of a scene.
I remember this tale. So it is good to look upon it with perhaps not quite so much bias.
Some people didn't like that. Some saw the point I was trying to make. Some of the other homids, at least. Anyway, I'll leave you to your carving.
She'll give a light nod. I will do my best to do as you've asked. I beg your patience in return.
Absolutely. Maybe I will be friendly with Dallas next time.
And she, again, it's kind of that wry smile, like, oh dear Lord. A little bit of a head shake. You'll learn that. These things take time. This place is a shock to the system.
This is one of the great battlefields where we fight the worm. We are in its heart. It might not be the Amazon. We're not defending some great, vast, important wasteland. But we're in a place where we're barely hanging on by our fingers. To survive, it means we give up some old-time traditions, do things slightly differently. Then that is why the spirit of our totem is Great White Mouse.
And she gives a thoughtful nod. And yeah, little mouse buddy has probably been like chilling on her antler the whole time because I keep forgetting he's there.
If Will could see it, he will gesture, kind of nod at it when he says that.
And yeah, she kind of casts her eyes up and grins a bit. It occurs to me that perhaps in the past you had quite the point. She gestures up. I still haven't exactly asked him what he wishes or what he's here for. I just accepted the blessing.
Like you did with the bow and arrow.
There's a little nod there. Like, yep, exactly that.
Why did you ask him? Why did you ask him why, out of all the Garu on the sept, he's shown his favour to a Metis? Is he making a point?
I have made some grand gestures to Great White Mouse and her brood. I think perhaps and she kind of pauses and looks thoughtful for a moment and kind of actually turns around and properly looks at him. Not in the eyes per se, but actually, looks up at his face, addressing him properly. In the spirit of fairness, I have learned something about you that you probably did not mean to share. I, in turn, have something that I have kept close to my chest. But perhaps letting someone in would make it easier on me. I have trouble navigating the streets in the city and am easily lost. And it makes my monthly chiminage difficult. Would you consider, towards the end of next month, coming with me into the city? I will explain myself, of course, before I ask you to help, but fair is fair. And this is not something that I can share openly among my pack mates to ask them for help.
Of course. If it's serving a guy in spirit, then that's what we're here to do.
And she nods. The issue is not with the spirits. The issue would be a matter of pride and a matter of emotion. The spirits understand the tasks that I undertake, and no ill will is kept towards me or mine. But it is a delicate subject.
I can keep a secret.
And
I have a few of people on set. With kind of a mischievous smile again.
the next time you should happen to visit the Cairnheart, look among the offerings on Great White Mouse's shrine. I assure you that my beta would be deeply offended if you knew the one I had left.
Curiouser and curiouser.
She kind of does the playful loft of brows, like, isn't it though?
Well, I'll leave you to it.
There's a bit of a nod.
Thank you. You have been a good friend recently. Clearly, imitating her earlier thing that they'll never be friends. Not imitating, rather referencing. Sorry.
And yeah. Again, it gets a bit of a grin, just because, let's be fair, this is probably the best mood she's ever interacted with him in.
I think so.
Will startle a smile out of her pretty readily.
And yeah, we'll stand up and head off.
And she will probably pause a bit before going back to what she was doing. But yeah, once he's headed off, we'll take up another sliver of antler and take up the tool again and stubbornly keep at it. So I suppose with that, I can say thank you, players, for playing, watchers for watching. We'll see you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.